Hello, my name is Wayne Alexander, and today we're going to be taking a look at automatic case creation rules. This is a new functionality that was released for CRM 2013 in the spring release. And what these rules do is basically reduce the need for users to manually create cases from incoming emails. The conditions in these rules automatically convert the emails to cases if those conditions are met. The automatic case creation rule doesn't just create a case for every email that comes in to a queue, because this could be done via workflow. Basically, there's several options that are available to let the system know when a case should or shouldn't be created. Users also have the ability to populate fields conditionally and send a response out to those customers. Now this functionality ties in with the new case routing functionality, whereby users will be able to create the conditions to convert the email to a case, and then using the routing functionality route the email to a particular queue. Okay, so let's get stuck in. Let's take a look at where we can create these automatic case creation rules. So I'm just going to click on Microsoft Dynamics CRM here, and I'm just going to go ahead and navigate to the settings area of CRM. Now there's two places you can create your automatic case creation rule. First place is by simply going to automatic case creation rules here, clicking on the link and then clicking new. The second place, and this is where we're going to do it, is actually through queues. So I'm going to go ahead and click on queues here, and I'll pick on my standard support queue. So I'm going to just double click and open up that queue here. Okay, now you'll notice within the queue form there's actually two buttons there. There's email to case settings and social to case settings. We're gonna be using the email to case settings. This is what I'm demoing today, but just to let you know that the social to case settings basically allows CRM, well, if CRM was to connect to a social network site, the integration could take place in such a way that any post or activity feeds that come into CRM could be converted to a social activity, and that social activity in turn could be converted into a case. Okay, so we're doing email to case, so I'm just going to go ahead and click on email to case settings here. Now first and foremost, because this rule was created from within a queue, support queue in particular, you'll notice that support is automatically populated for us. You'll also know that the social type, I apologize, the source type is automatically set to email. If we were creating a social to case settings, then obviously the source type would be social in there instead. Okay, so let me just expand this here. The first thing the system's going to do is ask me to put in a name. Try and be as creative as possible. For this example, I'm just going to go ahead and put in here test case creation. Now what we're going to do is we're going to create the case creation rule for support, and then what we'll do is we'll create the conditions afterwards. So just put in a name here. Okay, now you'll notice that in the case creation rule there's several options that you could choose from, and we'll just go through those in turn. So first one is create cases for emails from an unknown sender. So when an email arrives into the queue, if it's not associated to an account or contact, then basically if this remains unticked, the system will not convert the email to a case. The email would remain in the queue for a user to go in and possibly manually convert to a case, but the system won't automatically do so. The second option we have is create case if a valid entitlement exists for a customer. Basically what happens is when the email comes into the queue, the system will check to see if the contact who sent in the email associated to an account has a valid entitlement. The system would also check to see if there's filters in place on these entitlements whereby the contact who sent the email has the ability to create cases against that valid entitlement. If they do, then the system will go ahead and create the case on their will convert the email to a case on their behalf. The next option we have is create case for activities associated with a resolved case. Now, if I was to, I'm just going to go ahead and tick that for a moment just to let you see what happens. Basically, what happens here is if the email is associated to, well, the system is saying that if when an activity comes in, an email comes in, if the case has been resolved, if you were to tick that box, then what the system will do is it will create a new case for the email that's coming. So as it stands at the moment, if that box was unticked, then if an email was if the email was to come in, which was associated with a resolved case, then no new case would be created. So this option basically just gives you the ability to create a new case if the email that's coming is associated to a resolved case. When I tick this box, you'll notice actually another option appears, and this option actually allows me to set the duration. I'm just going to go ahead and put 3 days in there, and then if I just click in there, I'm going to change that to 39 days. And what this basically does is it controls the duration of how long a case can be resolved for before a new case can be created. So as an example, this box is ticked here and it says 39 days. If an email was to come in and it's associated to a resolved case that's only 38 days old, then a new case wouldn't be created. But if it's 39 days or more, then that case will be created. So it just gives you the option to control the duration of how long a case can be resolved for before that new case has actually been created. Last but certainly not least, we have send automatic email response to customer on case creation. If I was to go ahead and tick that box, you'll notice that another option appears, and it allows me to select an email template to respond to the customer. Okay, so those are the options within the case creation rule. We've got a section over here which is specify case details. Now I can't do anything with that just yet until I hit the save button, but if I was to go ahead and hit that save button, then the specified case details become available. And the first thing I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm just going to go ahead here and click on the plus button to create a case detail. Now, what the case details allows users to do is stipulate how fields are populated from within a case. So when email gets converted to a case, the case title will be the subject of the email. And the system will populate the customer field of the case with whomever sent that email. What the system doesn't do is populate the description of the case with the body of the email. The system doesn't do that, and it doesn't populate other fields. This is where the specified details come in, because it gives users the ability to populate other fields within the case based on certain conditions. The first thing the system's going to ask for is a name. What we're going to do is we're going to set up a condition where if the customer has premium support, it's a field on their account, then we're going to go ahead and set that case to high. Now you have the ability to add multiple details or conditions to a case creation rule. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to call this high priority customers, and just going to go ahead and add my condition in here. So you could choose from the email itself or related entities. I'm going to scroll down here until we get to sender account. So I'm going to say sender account where the Premier support is a custom field that we added here, equals to yes. And I'm going to go ahead and go back in there again, and this time I'm going to say where the sender contact. So this time I'm going to go ahead and use sender contact rather than sender account. And this time I'm going to scroll down here. The contact account doesn't have all the options that we've customized with the account form, but it does have the Premier support. So I'm just going to go ahead and say Premier support equals to yes. So in other words, if the email is coming from an account or from a contact, if Premier support equals to yes, we want something to happen. Of course, we need to add our OR option in here. So I'm going to go ahead and select those two options there. Click on Group OR. Okay, and finally, I'm just going to go ahead and add my case property. So if I just click on the drop down here, just go down, I'm going to say priority to high. So I've just gone ahead and add my condition. I'm going to save and close, and you can see it's populated in the specified case details. I'm going to go ahead and add one more, and this is what I'm going to call our default condition. And this time I'm not going to fill in any conditions here. This is a backup. So in other words, if an email comes in to the queue and it doesn't meet this criteria, this is going to be my fail-safe here. I'm not going to add any conditions. All I'm going to do is I'm just going to go down to case properties and set my priority to normal. Click OK and save and close. Okay, so what did we do there? We just added our details for this particular condition. Now with these case creation rules, we have to go ahead and activate our case creation rule. Before I activate, one thing I need to point out, and this is very important, when you're creating a case creation rule, you'll notice that, as I've said in the beginning, the source type is email and the queue is support. You can only create one case creation rule of source type email for this particular queue support. So I could go in and I could create another case creation rule of source type social for the queue support, but the system will limit you to only create one case creation rule per source type per queue. Okay, so the final thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and click on the activate button, go ahead and activate my case creation rule, and that rule has now been created. It's just going to be activated now, and it's now available, and it will be applicable when emails come into that support queue. Thank you.